The second model I'm going to describe is the framework for change, devised by Penny Tompkins and James Lawley. And this is the model which I hang on to whenever I'm coaching, particularly when I don't really know what's going on for the client. If I find myself at any stage feeling like, oh, I'm way out of my depth here, ooh, I stop myself and I say, right, whereabouts in the framework am I right now? And what does that mean for what I should do next? I'm paying full attention to the client at all times, and I'm hanging on to my framework. So to give a very, very brief overview of this framework. Now, bear in mind that various people have trained this model, and typically they will take something in the region of 7 really fully packed days to teach this model. So I'm going to give you the few-minute version. We start by identifying the client's desired outcome, what they would like to have happen. Now, if you're new to working in a context of change, context of coaching, you might be surprised to realize that most clients don't come to coaching or to any form of change work with a very clear idea of what they would like. And typically it can take a large chunk of the piece of work to get them to be clear about what they actually want. Now, this is one of the great advantages of clean language over something like NLP, where you might start by asking the question, what do you want? In clean language, we take it more steadily than that, and we ask, what would you like to have happen? Having identified the desired outcome, we then move on to developing the desired outcome. Now, that's the bit where the excitement happens for me, particularly when I'm working in metaphor, very fully in metaphor with the client. It's the place where the metaphor comes to life and people start to live their metaphors. And if you're observing this happening, it can be really quite exciting as metaphorical symbols, beings, mythical creatures seem to come to life for the person. Somebody in a workshop recently said, it's like we all agree to treat our imaginary friends as real. At one level it's like that, at another level it's like they really are real. And typically in that situation, things will start to change. A dragon might turn into a friendly dragon. Fire might turn into a flaming portal. A jumble of bricks might turn into a flight of stairs. All these kind of things just happen. It's not as if the client has to sit there and figure out how to make them happen. They just happen. And when those changes happen, we move to the box at the bottom of the diagram. We mature the changes. That means we take the client's attention to the change that has just happened. We help them to notice that things have changed. What are the implications when things change? Because when things change within the metaphoric landscape, things change more widely as well. There is real life change which comes with the metaphorical change. Now, typically I never go to the third of the top boxes, the one called identify necessary conditions. But I can do. And if the change doesn't magically happen on its own, I do. I set to work to figure out what needs to happen for the change to happen. So, what needs to happen for the bricks to turn into a staircase in a metaphorical sense, or what needs to happen for you to set up your coaching business in exactly the way you'd like. And we'll work those out. And again, changes may occur, and when they occur, we mature them. Now that's the overall, very, very ridiculously brisk outline of the framework for change. And as you start to explore it, you might discover that there's a lot more to it than that. Because this framework is not only a framework for an individual piece of coaching work, it can be a framework for a piece of work within that individual piece of change work. It can be a framework for a whole change, a whole sequence of coaching sessions. Maybe somebody who comes on my 12-session coaching program. You can treat the framework as covering the whole of that. You can use it as a framework for a change within an organizational context. It really is a fabulously simple model of what can be an incredibly complex process.